Welcome back to the Deep Dive. I'm your host, and as always, I've got a massive stack of research articles and notes here that we are going to turn into something useful.
And I'm here to help you connect the dots and hopefully find the signal in all the noise.
Today we're doing something a little different. Usually we're looking at, tech trends or history or some complex scientific concept, but today we're looking at something that honestly hit me right in the chest. You know those moments when you're scrolling through social media, maybe it's late at night, you're tired from work, doom scrolling a bit, and you see an image that just stops you.
It's that shock of recognition. When a meme isn't just a joke, it's a mirror.
Exactly. And recently, there was this image going absolutely viral. It's a cartoon of a little horse. They call him Little Horse Shama, and he's running in the rain.
I know the one you mean.
But he's not just running, he is sprinting. And there are tears just absolutely streaming down his face. He looks desperate.
It's incredibly evocative.
Yeah.
It's drawn in this very simple style, but the emotion is just, it's raw.
And the caption that went with it said, "Some things are so tough that you can only get through them while crying."
Oof. That is a heavy sentiment for a cartoon horse.
Right. But it went viral for a reason. It resonated so deeply with young people, especially those just stepping into the real world.
I see that.
That feeling of the grind, the shock of adulthood, the realization that, let's be honest, wealth and success aren't exactly handed out equally.
It taps into that universal anxiety of what you could call the learner phase of life.
Yes.
You're starting your career, you have all this energy, but you're facing these massive systemic walls.
Yeah.
You realize the playing field isn't just uneven. For a lot of people, it feels practically vertical.
And that image, that feeling, is the perfect gateway into what we're talking about today. We are doing a deep dive into the animated film that inspired that whole sentiment.
Right.
It's called Little Demons of Mount Langlang, or sometimes it's just known as Nobody. And the title tells you everything you need to know. This is not a story about the chosen ones. It's not about the superheroes.
No. This is a story about the NPCs, the background characters, the ones who usually get knocked off the screen in the first 5 minutes of the movie just to show how strong the villain is.
Precisely. The source material we're looking at today introduces us to 4 nameless little demons. They are dirt poor, their clothes are ragged, and in terms of magic power, they are the absolute bottom of the barrel.
And yet, they decide to do something incredibly audacious.
They do. They decide to fake their way to glory. So our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack the story of these 4 nobodies. We're going to look at their insane plan to impersonate the most famous heroes in Chinese mythology.
It is a wild plan.
And we're going to analyze what their journey tells us about class, about destiny, and I think most importantly, about what it actually means to live a brilliant life.
And what's so fascinating, and I think what's going to surprise you, is how much of this fantasy story about demons is actually a brutally sharp satire of modern corporate culture.
Oh, absolutely, which is the perfect place to start. So let's jump into it. Segment 1, the corporate horror of the demon world.
Okay, so let's set the scene. The film opens in a place called Great King Cave. Now, if you strip away all the fantasy elements, Great King Cave is essentially the Google or the Goldman Sachs of the demon world.
It's the place everyone wants to work. It's the top of the food chain, the prestigious company.
Correct. It's ruled by the Tiger King, who is the CEO, the big boss.
Yeah.
And getting a job there, it isn't just about a paycheck, it's about status.
Right.
The source material mentions this little wooden badge they give you, the family prestige badge.
I loved that detail. It's so real. It's like getting that branded lanyard or the company hoodie from a big tech firm.
Exactly.
You wear it back in your village and suddenly your neighbors treat you differently. You've made it. It's social currency.
That's a great way to put it. It allows these demons to hold their heads high. It's an identity marker. And this is where we meet our first 2 protagonists, the boar and the toad scab.
Great names. Very literal.
Very literal. The boar is the ambitious intern. He's got that hustle culture mindset, He's gritty, he's ready to work. He believes if he just puts in the hours, he'll rise to the top.
And the toad.
The toad is more the operational support. He's a dishwasher, he's smaller, weaker, and he just wants to keep his head down and collect his check. He values the stability.
And they get this task that on the surface seems simple enough, right? They have to scrub a copper pot.
But not just any pot. This is the pot that the Tiger King is going to use to cook Tang San Sang.
Okay, so a quick refresher for anyone who isn't deep on the journey to the West lore.
Right. Eating the flesh of the monk Tang Senzang is said to grant immortality. It is the ultimate prize in this universe.
So this isn't just doing the dishes after dinner. This is high-stakes dinner prep for the most important event in the company's history. It's like prepping the boardroom for the merger that will change everything.
The highest stakes imaginable. And the boar, being the eager intern he is, he sees this as his moment. He thinks, if I do a really, really good job, maybe I'll get noticed. Maybe the Tiger King will even give me a scrap of the meat.
He's giving 110%. He's staying late, skipping his lunch breaks, the whole 9 yards. He wants that pot to sparkle. He wants to be seen.
He's grinding. But here's the tragedy of the overeager intern. He scrubs so hard that he accidentally scrubs away the calligraphy that was inscribed on the pot.
Calligraphy from who?
From the Tiger King's own ancestor.
Oh no. He cleaned it too well. He polished off the heritage.
He essentially erased the company logo, the family crest. And this is the inciting incident. Now, in a normal company, maybe you get written up, maybe you get a reprimand.
A stern talking to, maybe you get put on a PIP, a performance improvement plan, something scary but, survivable.
Here, the Tiger King sentences them both to death.
Death. Just for cleaning a pot too hard. That's insane.
Yes. And what makes this sting so much, what makes it so unfair, is the comparison the source material draws.
Oh, this part made me so mad.
There were other workers, a goat and a rhino, who also had a pot to clean. And they left theirs filthy. They did a terrible job. They were lazy, they barely touched it, and what did they get?
Let me guess. A promotion?
Not quite, but close. They got 40 lashes, a slap on the wrist. They survived.
That is infuriating. It's such a perfect, brutal metaphor for the workplace, isn't it?
It really is.
You have the people who coast, who do the bare minimum, maybe they have the right connections or just the right chill attitude, and they skate by. But the person who tries too hard, who cares too much, but makes one tiny mistake, they get destroyed.
It's the newbie trap. The boar had no protection, no political capital. He was grinding to exhaustion, hoping for a meritocracy that simply does not exist in that cave.
And the other workers, and they didn't even feel sorry for him.
No. The source highlights their reaction. They didn't pity the boar. First, they envied him for trying so hard, and then they hated him when he failed. It's incredibly toxic.
So now they're on the run. They barely escape with their lives. The toad is crying, which honestly is relatable.
Completely.
He thinks his life is over. He lost the badge, he lost the job, he lost his whole identity.
He's completely broken. He defines himself by that family prestige badge. He's thinking, what am I without Great King Cave? But the boar is a hustler. He's not crying, he's strategizing.
And his first idea is pretty bold, to say the least.
The boar's initial thought is, okay, if we're going to die anyway, let's intercept Tang Senzang ourselves and eat him.
Talk about a pivot. If I can't work for the CEO, I'll become the CEO.
But then reality hits, they get some intel, they realize who is protecting Tang Senzang?
Sun Wukong, the Monkey King.
The Monkey King. And they learn that Wukong just single-handedly destroyed a place called Emperor Huan Cave.
Which in this world is like hearing that a rival CEO just bought out your biggest competitor and fired everyone in a single afternoon. It's a show of force.
It's worse. It's like hearing a nuclear bomb just went off next door. Fighting the Monkey King is absolute suicide. Sun Wukong is a god-tier entity. These guys are level 1 scrubs. They wouldn't last a nanosecond.
So direct confrontation is off the table. The boar has to come up with another idea, a much crazier idea.
This is where the genius of the story kicks in. The boar has this realization. He thinks, wait a minute, Sanzang's disciples, Piggy, Sha Wujing, they were demons once too. They were monsters.
Right, they have a past.
If they could reinvent themselves and become Buddhas, why can't we?
It's the ultimate fake it till you make it strategy. They decide to impersonate the entire scripture team.
And this leads to one of the funniest and most biting scenes in the whole story. The casting process and what it says about the creative industry.
Oh, the chicken artist scene. I laughed out loud reading about this. It felt like a direct attack on anyone who's ever worked in design or marketing.
It is pure satire of the client-creative relationship. So the boar and toad, they need disguises. But here's the problem. They've never actually seen Sun Wukong or the others.
Right, no Instagram in this universe. They don't have any reference photos.
All they have are legends, rumors. So they go to a chicken demon, who is an artist, to get reference portraits drawn so they can make masks.
And they are giving him the worst creative brief in history. Draw a monkey, but make him heroic. Draw a monk, but, Holy!
That make it,
Make it pop, exactly. And the poor chicken artist, this source describes him as just completely exhausted. He draws dozens and dozens of sketches based on this vague, useless information. He's just trying to please them.
And of course, after all that work, which sketch do the demons pick?
The ugliest one. The one that looks nothing like a hero. The absolute worst option on the page.
The absolute worst one. And the chicken is too tired to argue. He doesn't defend his artistic vision. He doesn't say, actually, the composition here is off, or this one better captures the essence. He just wants his payment.
Which is what, a bag of grain?
A bag of grain. He just wants to get paid so he can go to sleep.
I don't care if you pick the bad logo, just pay the invoice and let me nap. I feel like every graphic designer listening to this just shuddered in recognition.
It connects directly to that note in the source material about how standards get squeezed by necessity. You swallow your opinions, you compromise your vision just to please the client and survive. The chicken artist represents the creative soul crushed by the gig economy.
So, armed with these objectively terrible drawings, they go out to recruit the rest of their team. And the casting is, well, it's questionable.
To say the least. So first they need a Tang San Zhang. The toad has the smallest body, so he shaves his head and puts on the ropes.
The dishwasher becomes the holy monk. Perfect.
Then they need a Pigizubaji. The boar is sturdy, has the right build, so he takes that role. It's typecasting, really.
Fair. He is a pig, after all.
But they still need a Monkey King and a Sha Wujing. So based on these bad portraits, they find a yellow weasel and a gorilla.
A weasel and a gorilla. This sounds like the start of a very bad joke.
And the irony here is so sharp. The film is very clever about this. Let's compare the fakes to the real deal.
Okay.
The real Tang San Zhang is known for his unwavering goodness, his compassion. The fake Tanger toad is opportunistic and just wants a steady job.
A total fraud.
The real Sun Wukong is the bravest, most fearless being in the universe. The fake Wukong, the gorilla, is a total coward who cries in fear at the slightest noise.
And the weasel, what about him?
The real Sha Wujing is the strong, silent type. In the original books, he barely speaks. He's just this reliable, stoic presence. The weasel, he cannot stop talking. He chatters constantly, nonstop.
And don't forget the horse. The real white dragon horse can run 1,000 miles in a day. Their horse is lame. It's basically just a prop they drag around.
So you have this motley crew of counterfeits. They are the knockoff brand version of the heroes. They are the Wish.com Avengers.
Uh-huh. That's perfect.
And here's where the story gets really interesting. They start the journey. And the disguise actually starts to work.
Which moves us into segment 3, the adventure of the imposters. Because weirdly enough, people start buying it.
It works because people see what they expect to see. They arrive at a small remote temple where there's a blind abbot. He can't see that they're just a bunch of raggedy demons.
He can only hear them.
He hears their polite words, he feels their presence, and because he's heard the legends, he treats them with absolute reverence.
That part is surprisingly touching. He gives them a new robe. He believes in them so completely, and that belief, it starts to change them a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. It validates them in a way they've never ever experienced. They've always been treated as pests or slaves. Suddenly, they're being treated as holy figures. It makes them stand a little taller.
It's like the Pygmalion effect.
Exactly. People perform to the expectations that are placed on them, and for the first time, someone has high expectations for them.
But the real test comes at North Zhang Village. Because playing dress up in front of a blind abbot is one thing. Dealing with actual threats is something else entirely.
Correct. They learn there's a rat spirit terrorizing the locals. Now, normally, these four would run away. They are the weakest demons, remember. They are the absolute bottom of the food chain.
Right. If this was the start of the movie, they'd be the first ones hiding in a ditch.
But they're in character now. They are this scripture team. They have an audience of villagers watching them. So despite being fakes, they fight.
And it's not a pretty fight, is it?
No, it's a messy fight. It's not graceful kung fu. It's clumsy. It's desperate. They're falling over each other. But against all odds, they win. They actually defeat the rat spirit.
And the villagers are so grateful they don't know it's a trick. To them, the rescue was 100% real.
And that's a key theme here. Actions versus titles. They don't have the pedigree, they don't have the official Buddhist certification, but they did the job. They saved the village. Does the intent matter if the outcome is salvation for these people?
So they're riding high on this victory. They're thinking, hey, maybe we can do this. But then the story takes a detour that really grounds it back in reality.
A very heavy detour.
The boar decides to take the group to visit his parents' house. And this isn't some happy, triumphant homecoming.
No, this is where the fantasy peels back to reveal the brutal poverty that's been driving the boar all along. His family is struggling. The father is bedridden, very sick. The mother is trying to raise a whole litter of piglets on basically nothing. It's bleak.
It explains his ambition, though, doesn't it? He's not just greedy for power. He's desperate to lift his family out of this dirt.
Exactly. He's carrying the weight of his family's survival on his back. He sees his little siblings and knows that if he fails, they starve. And this scene introduces a classic Chekhov's gun, a detail that you just know is going to come back later.
The spell.
Yes. The father, seeing that his son is trying to make something of himself, but knowing how dangerous the world is, teaches them a final resort spell, a secret technique.
And what does it do?
It allows them to unleash their maximum power, to become incredibly strong giants for a short period of time.
But there's a terrible cost. There's always a cost.
A devastating cost. If they use it, they lose their souls. They lose their consciousness, their memories, everything that makes them who they are, and they become feral beasts.
So it's a break glass in case of emergency button, but the emergency has to be apocalyptic. Here's the nuclear option, but it will destroy you. That is a heavy burden to carry.
It's a desperate measure for desperate people.
Yeah.
And you have to keep that in mind because it is absolutely crucial for the ending.
Okay, so from that heavy emotional moment, they stumble into a place called Dog Howl Cave. And this is kind of the flip side. The dog demon brothers there completely buy the disguise.
They fall for it hook, line, and sinker. And they treat our nobodies like royalty.
It's the luxury treatment.
Oh yeah, they get baths, feasts, better clothes than they ever had as honest workers back at the Great King Cave.
Oh.
And you can see the imposter syndrome really kicking in.
Big time, they must be terrified.
They're being pampered. But they know deep down they are complete frauds. It's that constant feeling of when are they going to find us out? But at the same time, it's seductive. They like the good life.
Of course, who wouldn't?
They started thinking, maybe we can just keep this up. Maybe we don't need to be real heroes. We just need to keep the con going from cave to cave.
Which sets the stage perfectly for the climax. They arrive at a place called Thunder Sound Temple. Now, if you know Journey to the West, you know this name is a big deal.
Thunder Sound Temple is the destination. That's where the real Buddha lives. That's the finish line. In corporate terms, that's the IPO.
Something is off as soon as they get there.
The real Thunder Sound Temple is where the Buddha lives. But this is a trap. This is the domain of a villain named Yellowbrow Old Buddha.
Okay, let's unpack Yellowbrow. Who is this guy? Because he feels like a really significant antagonist.
Yellowbrow is a fascinating antagonist. In the original lore, he was a servant boy for Maitreya Buddha, the laughing Buddha, a huge figure in the Buddhist pantheon.
So he worked for a major deity?
He did. But he got ambitious, he stole some powerful magical artifacts, ran away to the mortal world, and essentially set up his own franchise. He built a fake temple. He called it Thunder Sound Temple. He dressed his demon followers up as bodhisattvas. He started playing God.
So wait a minute. We have a team of fake pilgrims arriving at a fake temple run by a fake Buddha.
The layers of irony are incredible. It's imposters meeting a master imposter. It's like a low-level scammer trying to pull a fast one on a Ponzi scheme operator.
But Yellowbrow is not harmless. He's not just playing dress-up like our heroes are.
No, he is deeply, truly evil. He's hunting children. He needs to sacrifice them to boost his magic power because his ultimate goal is to fight the real Sun Wukong.
Ah, so it's an inferiority complex.
A massive one. And he's taking it out on the most innocent victims he can find.
That got dark fast.
Very dark. And when our nobody team arrives, Yellowbrow sees through their disguise immediately. Their lousy fighting skills, their cheap costumes, it all gives them away in seconds. The gorilla cowers out, the weasel talks too much.
So the jig is up. The masks are off.
Completely. They're exposed as the weaklings they really are. But Yellowbrow doesn't just kill them on the spot, he makes them an offer.
Of course he does. He's the ultimate corporate villain.
He says, you're weak, but you have spirit. Join my army. Submit to me. You can survive. You can have a steady gig. It's the classic choice between survival through submission or death for a cause.
And this is where we see the character arcs really pay off. Who breaks first?
The Toad. The one who just wanted stability all along. The source says he is the first to kneel. He's used to being stepped on. He just wants the conflict to end. He wants to go back to being a dishwasher if it means he doesn't have to die.
And the boar, the hustler, the leader.
He's practical as always. He wants to quit the hero act. He's thinking, look, we tried, we failed, let's just survive. He's ready to ignore the children being held captive in the back if it means staying alive. He's doing the ROI calculation in his head, and survival wins.
But the weasel and the gorilla, the ones who just joined to conform.
Surprisingly, they're the most steadfast, at least initially. And I think it's because by playing the roles of Wukong and Sha Wujing, by wearing those masks, they actually found some of the courage those roles required.
The mask became the face.
The mask became the face. For a moment, they forgot their true cowardly selves and became the heroes they were pretending to be.
That's profound. They faked it until they actually started to feel it, to believe it.
Exactly. But eventually, the reality of the threat is too much. Yellowbrow is just too powerful. They are all pushed to the absolute brink. They have to make a final decision. Do we walk away and let these kids die? Or do we fight a battle we know for a fact we can't win?
And this is the awakening. The boar looks at the situation, and maybe he thinks of his own siblings back home, those little piglets his mother is struggling to raise, and he realizes he cannot abandon the innocent.
He realizes that survival isn't enough if you can't live with yourself. So they use the spell.
The one the father taught them, the one that cost them their souls.
Yes. The visual description in the source here is intense. The four of them merge into one single giant being. It's the boar carrying the others, literally fusing together to multiply their power. It's a grotesque, desperate, ultimate sacrifice.
They give up everything, their minds, their future, their potential prestige badges. They sacrifice their very identities to save these kids.
And they win. In a blaze of glory, they actually defeat Yellowbrow. They save the children. But as the sun rises,
the bill comes due.
The cost is paid. They lose their magic. They turn back into mindless animals, just a regular boar, a toad, a weasel, and a gorilla. And they lose their memories. They forget the entire journey. They forget each other.
That is just heartbreaking. They don't get the parade. They don't get the Buddha status. They don't get the interview on the morning talk shows. They just fade away.
They return to being nobodies. It's an incredibly tragic ending, but it forces us to ask, was it worth it? And to answer that, I think we need to go to segment 5, the deep analysis of destiny and class.
Because the movie makes a really specific point about why they couldn't be the real heroes. And it wasn't just about their power levels.
Right. Yellowbrow's advisor has this brutal line during the confrontation. He mocks them. He says, you think anyone can fetch scriptures? You're just nobodies.
And then he lays out the resumes of the real team. And when you look at that list, it really, really changes how you see the original Journey to the West story.
Let's go through that list because it's so important. Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, born of heaven and earth essence, disciple of the Grand Patriarch, has an indestructible body. He is practically a god before the story even starts.
He's the ultimate trust fund baby of the universe. He was born on third base.
Then you have Zubaji, the pig. He wasn't just some pig demon in the mud. He was Marshal Tianping, commander of 80,000 naval troops in heaven. He was a high-ranking general.
And Sha Wujing, the quiet one?
The general of the curtain lifters. He attended the Jade Emperor personally. He worked in the palace. And Tang Sanzang himself, the sworn brother of the actual emperor of China and the incarnation of a holy being called the Golden Cicada.
Don't forget the horse.
Even the horse is a literal prince of the Dragon King of the West Sea.
Talk about a Nepo baby squad. I never actually realized how privileged they all were.
It changes the entire context, doesn't it? The scripture quest in Journey to the West was essentially a rehab program for elites who messed up. It was a path to redemption, designed for them to atone and cultivate.
It was never for the common folk.
It was never meant for nameless beings like our boar or our toad.
So the tragedy isn't that they weren't brave enough, it's that they tried to enter a game that was rigged against them from birth. They tried to apply for a job that was internal hires only.
The universe of this story has these strict, unspoken rules about destiny and class. The sad ending comes from them picking a path not meant for them. They tried to jump class lines, and the system just swatted them down like flies.
That is devastatingly realistic. It cuts right through the usual, you can do anything if you just dream big Disney message.
It does. But let's look deeper at the characters themselves in segment 6, because I think their individual personalities tell us something about how different people cope with this kind of reality.
Okay, let's profile them. Let's start with the toad. We called him the wage earner.
The toad represents the desire for stability above all else. He clung to that dishwasher badge like it was a medal of honor. That was his identity. He felt lost without the system telling him who he was.
He represents the fear of freedom in a way.
A little bit, yeah. He'd rather be a servant in a palace than a king out in the wild. He wants the safety of the known, even if it's demeaning.
Then the boar, the hustler.
He's the driver of the story. He's motivated by poverty, by the need to provide. He wants to rise. But he learns a very hard lesson, that material survival isn't enough.
Right.
If you gain the world but lose your soul, if you ignore the suffering of the innocent, like those kids in the cave, you haven't really succeeded at all. He represents the realization that raw ambition needs a moral compass to be meaningful.
And then the conformists, the weasel and the gorilla.
They just join to fit in. They're classic peer pressure creatures. But ironically, by conforming to a noble ideal, even if it was a lie initially, they actually improved themselves.
He became better versions of themselves.
They did. They proved that sometimes pretending to be brave is the very first step to actually being brave.
Which brings us to the resolution in segment 7. Because the movie doesn't just end with them turning into mindless animals. There's an epilogue involving the heavy hitters. And it makes me so angry, but also weirdly hopeful.
It's a very complex emotional mix. So the battle is over, our heroes have vanished, and Maitreya Buddha, the boss of the bad guy, Yellowbrow, he shows up.
The CEO arrives to check on the branch office after the scandal.
A perfect analogy. And what does he do? He finds Yellowbrow and he redeems him. He essentially says, "Oh, you naughty servant, you caused some trouble, let's get you back home." He taps him on the head and takes him back to heaven.
The system protects its own. The exec who commits massive fraud just gets moved to a different department or gets a golden parachute. No real consequences.
Exactly. Yellowbrow kidnapped children and played God, but because he's connected, he gets redeemed. And when someone asks Maitreya about the 4 little demons, the ones who actually stopped the villain,
What does he say?
Maitreya just ignores them. He says they are not worth worrying about. They are beneath his notice. He doesn't punish them, but he doesn't reward them either. To the establishment, they are simply invisible.
Ouch. That stings. You saved the day, but you're not on the payroll, so you don't exist to us.
But then, someone else passes by.
The real Sun Wukong.
The Monkey King himself, the great sage equal to heaven. He passes by the village, he hears the story of these 4 fakes, and he stops. He takes notice.
And what does he do?
He gives them 4 of his magic, life-saving hairs.
Wow. That gives me chills.
It's the only validation that truly matters. The establishment, Maitreya, ignores them. But the hero, Wukong, the one who rebelled against heaven, the one who fought the system himself, he recognizes their spirit. He acknowledges them as equals in courage, if not in power.
And there's an interpretation from the producer, Chen Liu, that reframes the whole tragedy. Because we look at them turning back into animals as this terribly sad thing, but he says it isn't.
Right. He points out that in the final scene, when the real pilgrims pass by, the little piglet, who used to be our boar, looks at them with innocent eyes. There's no bitterness, there's no regret.
They're free.
They are free from the burden of trying to be something they aren't. They're free from the grind. They're no longer crying while running in the rain.
They lived the life they chose. Even if it was just for a moment, they burned bright.
And they left a legacy. The village lives in peace. The source says they built a shrine for the 4 of them. They achieved their own kind of immortality, not by eating some magic meat, but by making a real impact on their community.
Which is a beautiful redefinition of success, isn't it? It's not about the title on your business card, it's about who you helped along the way.
It really is. Now for our final segment, segment 8, we have to talk about the cultural connections here. Because the source material draws a really interesting parallel to a classic Western film.
Stand By Me?
Yes, the Stephen King adaptation from 1986.
It's a perfect comparison when you think about it. Stand By Me is about 4 poor boys, an impulsive adventure to find a dead body facing their fears together, and ultimately, the sad reality of drifting apart as they grow up.
I never had any friends later on like the ones I had when I was 12, that classic line.
Exactly. And in Little Demons, the tragedy is even sharper because they didn't even learn each other's names before the memory wipe. They had this intense, life-altering bond. They literally merged their souls, and then it's just gone. It speaks to that fleeting nature of connection in a hard life.
You have these intense periods of struggle, maybe with a cohort at a difficult job or during university, and you bond so deeply. But then life moves on, and sometimes you just become strangers again. It captures that drift so painfully well.
And looking at the context of 2025, the source mentions this was seen as a tough year.
I think we can all feel that. The grind is real, the economic pressure, the uncertainty. A lot of people feel like they are that horse, Xiao Ma, just trying to get through it while crying.
And this film, it offers a different definition of a brilliant life. It says it's not about being a giant firework that everyone sees.
No, it says it's about being a warm light for those who are around you. It's about the small, local acts of bravery and kindness.
Which brings to mind that Dumbledore quote, "Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light."
It fits perfectly. They turned on the light for those kids.
So what does this all mean for us, for you, the listener? We started with that crying horse, that feeling of being completely overwhelmed by the struggle.
I think this story challenges our obsession with the outcome. We are so focused on becoming the Buddha, the CEO, the influencer, the star. But the reality is, most of us are the boar or the toad.
And that's okay.
It is absolutely okay.
I do.
Because the victory wasn't in the result. They didn't get the scriptures. They didn't become gods. The victory was in the attempt.
That brings us to our final thought. The film's dedication is to all who bravely start out.
And that's so powerful. In a world that is often unkind to the weak, the simple act of daring to begin, of taking that first step, even when you know the deck is stacked against you, that in itself is the victory.
You might feel like a nobody. You might feel like you're just scrubbing the copper pot, completely invisible to the Maitreya's of the world. But are you brave enough to take that first step, even without any guarantee of a happy ending?
That's the question. And if you can help someone along the way while you're on your own journey, then maybe you've already won.
Thank you for driving deep with us today. This story of the nobodies of Mount Langlang is going to stick with me for a long, long time. It's a reminder to be kind to the chicken artists and the intern boars in our own lives.
Absolutely. Everyone's fighting a battle.
Until next time, keep the light on.
Take care.